Hi everyone, welcome to the Chocolate Cellar. I'm going to do another demo today. I am just hanging about for a bit to see who else comes along. I'm a bit early. I was a bit apprehensive about being late, so I'm early. I hope everyone can see me. I have actually tried to set up so I can see on another computer what's happening, but I'm not sure that's going to work, so I'll do my best and we'll see how things go. But if you're there, say hello. If you're not, no worries, you can't say hello. So I'm just going to try and see if I can actually see what's going on here. So give me 2 minutes, please. Anyway, hello everyone. Nice to see you here. I am going to be doing a live on how to make your own spiced hot chocolates. So last week I did have a bit of a problem because I had the camera that way, and I have tried to make it better this time. So hopefully you can see everything up to there, and you can see me as well, and it's the right way up, so when it does go on it will be fine. So I'm going to do spiced hot chocolates. Now I did see that someone had said that I was going to do pumpkin spiced hot chocolates. I am doing pumpkin spice, but I'm not including pumpkin. If anyone thinks there's pumpkin in this, there isn't. Apologies for that confusion, but the reason I've called it pumpkin spice is that it's usually used for pumpkin pies, the spice thing that we're using. Okay, so I'm just going to wait a few more minutes to see if anyone joins us, and then we will get started. In the meantime, do say hello if you're there. I can see my mum is saying hello. Hi mum. I can't type because I'm going to be doing a demo, and my phone is on a tripod. So I'll just give it a couple more minutes, and I can see a few more people have joined. So I will get started. So what I'm doing here today, so first of all, I'm going to stand up. I've just sat down while I was waiting for things to get started. So what we have here, I'm going to do pumpkin spice first. Now, as I said, it's a mixture of spices. So we have got 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And if you do want to do this, please let me know that you want to know the mixture, and I can type it up in the comments later. So I've got 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. I have got half a teaspoon of nutmeg, which I'm going to throw into there. Half a teaspoon of ginger. And a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves. So it's all ground spices. You can get them in most shops, but you do need to make sure that they're finely ground. If you can't, there's no reason why you can't grind it all yourself. So I'm mixing that spice up. Hopefully you can see that. So all the ground spices, and it does smell gorgeous. It smells absolutely amazing. Now I love these spices. If you don't, you can make up your own mix. You don't have to use the same mix. Now what I do find is that at this time of year, a lot of people do use cinnamon. And although cinnamon's lovely, sometimes it can have a slightly sharp or rancid taste, depending on how much you put in. And adding the cloves and the ginger and nutmeg just adds a lot of warmth to it, and it tastes lovely. So we've got our spices mixed up, and we're going to put those to one side. What we're then going to do is, I've got 150 grams of chocolate, and I've used a bar today. Last week I used buttons, just to show everyone how to melt chocolate in a microwave. But today I thought I'd use a bar because a few people did get in touch afterwards and said, well, if I want to use a bar, would it be okay? And it's absolutely fine. So I'm breaking it into little chunks, and there's no reason why you can't save a little bit for yourself for later. Okay, so it's broken up into little chunks, and then I'm popping it in the microwave Now, again, I did mention last week, but just in case you missed it, I always melt chocolate in a microwave, and the reason for that is that it's the quickest way of doing it and the cleanest, really. So all you need to do is break up your chocolate the way I did, pop it in the microwave for 1 minute, take it out and give it a stir, and then pop it back in for 30 seconds. Take it out, give it another stir, 30 seconds. And that way you can melt your chocolate quite quickly. Some people do use a bain-marie. That's absolutely fine if that works for you. A bain-marie is boiling water with a bowl of chocolate over it. If that works for you, fine. Chocolate doesn't like going over 60 degrees centigrade, so sometimes if it overheats it can go funny and you can have problems with tempering it. Also, if you've ever got water into chocolate, you'll know what I mean. It completely curdles up and doesn't work at all. So let's get our chocolate out after a minute. And you can see, well, hopefully you can see it's already starting to melt. I've only used small quantities because I thought I didn't want to make a massive amount and then we find we can't do anything with it. But we can always do something with chocolate, but you know what I mean. I thought I'd try and do what you're likely to do at home. Okay, so that's melting away now. It's actually almost melted. I don't want to overheat it, so I'm just going to keep stirring it till it all melts in. As you can see, within a minute I've melted a bar of chocolate. Well, it's actually a bar and a half that I had in there. Okay, so we've got beautifully molten chocolate without a bain-marie, without any boiling water. And as I said last week, if you have got a tiny amount of chocolate, you can always just use a hairdryer to melt it. It works perfectly. Okay, to that mixture, I am going to add in 100 grams. So I've got 150 grams of chocolate, and I'm going to add in 100 grams of double cream. Now, I've boiled the double cream earlier, and I've left it to cool. You can add it while it's still hot, but then it takes a long time to set. So if you're trying to get it quickly, because children, if you're working with children, they do get impatient. So I would say cool the cream down, and it is double cream. I always use double cream with this. So cool the cream down and then add it in. I don't mean fridge cold, just room temperature is fine. If you put in something too cold into chocolate, that shocks it and it seizes up. Doesn't always work too well. So I've got my cream here and I'm adding it in. So 100 ml of double cream. I've added that in and I'm now trying to make a ganache with it. Now a ganache, the simplest form of ganache is a mixture of chocolate and cream. People do add different things in. Some people add butter in, some people add glucose syrup. All sorts of things can be added in, but the purest form of ganache is cream and chocolate. Okay, so I'm mixing that up. Now it's quite hard to see, I don't know if you can see that. And I'm doing figure of 8. Can't really see that, I think, but I'm doing a figure of 8 here. I'm trying to hold it up so you can see it. Okay, and it should look beautifully silky smooth. I hope you can see how silky it looks. Sometimes when people are making ganaches, it looks curdled. It looks like there's bits in it and it's slightly curdled, and then people think they need to mix more and they keep mixing more and more and more, and that makes it split. So if it's starting to look a bit curdled, all it means is that there's not enough fat in it. So add a little bit more cream or butter or whatever you're using, add a little bit more of that. Okay, so we've got our beautiful mixture here. What we then do is add in the spicing. Now it's up to you how much you use. You know how much of the spice you like. So I've got my pumpkin spice. I must admit I've made up quite a big jar and just kept it to the side because I love it and use it in a lot of stuff. But just, I think about half a teaspoon in this quantity is perfect. We're making hot chocolate, so bear in mind that we're going to add milk to this, so it will dilute it quite a lot. If you wanted to make something like truffles, this is exactly the same thing you'd do, but you would probably put in a bit less of the pumpkin spice, and then you would roll it into balls. So I've got the pumpkin spice mixed in, and I am then going to pop this into a piping bag. So we've got a piping bag. I'm going to pop it in. Pop it all into the bag. And you can decide what you would like to do with it. So while it's still warm, you can pipe it into a shape if you wanted to. So I've got a tray here, and I will show you what you can do with that. Let's try and raise that a little bit. So hopefully you can see that. Ooh. And hopefully the tray won't slip away from me. Now, I'm piping this at an angle. Please bear that in mind, because I want you to be able to see this. So I'm snipping a hole at the end of my piping bag, and then I'm just piping it into a circle. Okay, so we've got that, and we are then going to get a marshmallow. If you want a marshmallow, you don't have to have a marshmallow. And I'm skewering that and popping it into there. And then I'm going to cover that over again, so that you've got a nice gooey chocolate stick. So cover it all over, and you can leave that to set, and it'll lift off. Okay, so you could do that with all of them. Put marshmallows on. I've left a bit of a gap there, so I'm going to use a stick just to neaten it up. Okay, and if you want to, you can throw on some chocolate sprinkles. It's up to you, really. But basically, you've got a pumpkin spiced hot chocolate there. What you can do, as we all know Halloween's coming up, is if we get another tray, and then I'm going to pipe a circle onto there. Okay, and we're going to leave that for a minute to set, and I'm going to melt some white chocolate. Now, again, I had a few questions about melting white chocolate, melting chocolate with a hairdryer, so I thought I will prove it. So if you just get a small amount of chocolate, I've got a little knife for stirring, and I've got my hairdryer. Now, this is a travel hairdryer which I use just for workshops. So I'm just going to put it on full power and melt it. Okay, so that is less than 30 seconds, and it's starting to melt. I need it a little bit more molten for what I want to do, but in a metal thing it heats up, so you can see the white chocolate is melting there. So we keep stirring, melting the chocolate, because as I said, I only wanted a tiny amount. It really wasn't worth popping that into the microwave or anything. So I've got a few lumps left in there, and I'm just going to reheat that. And that has melted our chocolate really well. Okay, So now I've got it molten, I'm going to pop it into a piping bag. And get our little circle that we'd made earlier. Hopefully you can see that. Oh, everything's slipping away. There we go. So you can make out little parchment piping bags, or you can buy them as well. And this allows you to do fine piping. So what I'm going to do here is, I've got my chocolate. I'm going to put a stick in to make a little chocolate lolly. And then I'm adding my chocolate into the piping bag. Now with the thinner piping bags, when you pipe, it's always best to squeeze at the top. Okay, so we're going to squeeze and then make a little spiral with that. Okay, hopefully you can see that. And then you can use a stick or a knife and just make it into a little spider's web. And again, you can either use that as a lolly or as a hot chocolate. It's really intended to be a hot chocolate because it's quite rich. So you would just get boiling milk, dunk the chocolate mixture into the milk, and it melts in and makes a lovely hot chocolate. Now that would need to set for a couple of hours. So I have got a couple that I made earlier. And as I said, they just go into a mug of milk. Okay, so it's been quite short and sweet, but has anyone got any questions? Please feel free to type. I think I can see you if you have got any questions. Okay, so with the chocolate, you can use white chocolate, milk chocolate, dark chocolate. It's entirely up to you what you would prefer to use. With white chocolate, I would say use a bit less spicing because it would clash. And with dark chocolate, if you do use dark chocolate, if you sprinkle a little bit of orange zest onto it, it's beautiful. So I hope that's going to work out for you. If you do give it a go, please let me know how it turns out, and I hope you enjoy that. As I said, these hot chocolates, they will, you can put sticks in and they will set, and then once they're set, you can lift that off as well. Okay, so we have some lovely hot chocolates here. So if no one's got any questions, I'm going to say goodbye. I feel that I've rushed it, so if anyone has got any questions, do feel free to type it. So thank you, Claire, and have another look back, and I hope you'll try it. Thanks very much. Bye. Oh, I don't know how to turn it off now. Help.